Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining. We'll just wait another minute and then we'll get started. All right, we'll just go ahead and get started in the interest of time. And people will stream in. So thank you everybody for joining today's Industry 4.0 showcase run by Deep Tech Showcase. So today's agenda, we'll just have some opening remarks, meet the panel, and then we'll dive into the presentations. First session will end at 2 p.m. Eastern, and then second session will go from 2 to 3. Just to talk a little bit about us at Deep Tech Showcase. So our vision is to bring deep tech to market by leveraging the power of the community. What is this community? So we created an ecosystem for deep tech only. That ecosystem consists of startups, tech scouts from the government, and corporations, as well as investors. The startups, of course, are interested in meeting with the tech scouts and investors. Tech scouts from either the government or corporations looking for things like interesting solutions to challenges they might face, to see, might be interested in seeing what tech is out there, potential acquisitions, partnerships, pilots, so on and so forth. And investors are looking for deal flow. So there's something for everyone in this ecosystem. And we anchor this ecosystem with monthly events by industry theme. For example, this very event is one of these monthly events. The theme is Industry 4.0. And at these events, the startups will pitch to a panel, an audience of tech scouts from the government, corporations, as well as to investors. In addition to our events, we provide guided introductions. So stakeholders turn to us to scout specific tech. Let's say we have an investor interested in, Industry 4.0 technologies. And, for companies that we're working with in that space, between events, we could send some company profiles, some information about the company to them. If there's interest in meeting with that company, we make an introduction. It's a warm introduction on behalf of the company because that stakeholder already knows some basics about the technology and expressed interest in it. So it's a pretty good starting point. And business often follows. And when there's no interest, that's okay. We move on. We continue trying to send relevant companies from an investor or corporation or government perspective. Here are some of our upcoming showcase events. We have a microelectronics and semiconductor showcase that should take place on May 22nd. Pretty big industry right now, especially from the government point of view. And Aerospace and Defense Showcase, one of our big events, that will be on June 26th. So keep an eye out for that. We'll be happy to have you join either or both of those events. And now a word from our sponsor, Eagle Point Funding. We have here with us Benjamin Sampson, a Director of Business Development, to talk to you briefly about Eagle Point and what they could offer.
Thanks, Brian.
Benjamin?
Yeah, just really quickly wanted to let you guys know a little bit about the Eagle Point Funding and what we do. So we're a grant consulting and grant writing firm whose job is and focus is to essentially act as a company's in-house grant writing department that isn't in-house. And so what we do is breaks down into three categories. The first is we're going to help you find the grants that are out there, whether it's the Department of Defense or it's NASA or the USDA or it's the Department of Energy or the Department of Homeland Security. Anyone who's got funding out there, we're going to go ahead and find that for you and bring it to you. Now, once a company is working with us and they've said, hey, this is something we actually want to go for, this is a grant we'd actually want to do performance on if we want it, then at that point we actually get started. And so the idea is we work with you for over 18 months, applying to somewhere between 15 to 20 grants, handling everything from the budgeting to the technical documents to the business proposals, the formatting, editing, laying it out, submitting to the agencies, communicating with the agencies, really whatever we can take off a client's plate, we will, so they can focus on their R&D and not have to worry about anything else. And then while we're doing all that, we also have Deep Tech Showcase, which Brian is obviously a part of, which is what we call our network, which is what you guys are the people who help us find the connections and find the support for our clients across the space, across the government, across the investment space, and across the industry, so that our clients are put in the best position to win government funding and obviously give you guys returns as well. Now, for us, we've been in this game for over 25 years with about 1.7 billion won for clients to date. And our goal is we don't really want to work with companies for 1 grant to 2 grants to 3 grants. Like I said, average clients for us are getting somewhere between 15 to 20 submissions in their 18 months with us. But we have clients that have gone for 30, 40. Yeah, I think our current record's 56 grants submitted in 18 months. And if we decide to onboard with a client, because for us it is very much a decision as well, we're willing to extend a guarantee to our clients, essentially saying that if they're working with us in good faith, they're being communicative, giving us the information when we need it, and additionally clearly making this a priority on their end, we're willing to guarantee that they'll see at least $1 million in funding from the grants that we submit to over those 18 months. And to date, we've had a 100% success rate. It does do with a lot of the due diligence we do beforehand, before we actually engage with the client, but it's also, we know what we're doing. So if you'd love to talk, whether for your portfolio, your company, or someone you have a friend who might have a company that's interested, please don't hesitate. Scan that QR code. I'm going to throw my link for my Calendly in the chat as well. Happy to book some time with you. Happy to talk to you and get a better understanding of what your needs are in terms of the federal grant space and take you from there. Brian?
All right. Thank you so much, Benjamin. That was great. And of course, please leave your contact info in the chat. And everybody, I highly encourage you to reach out. Now diving into what everybody came here for, to see the presentations. These are the companies who will be presenting in the first session. We have Jewelcase, Allen AI, Knightscope, and BotBuilt. And as for the second session, we have OnScene, Rebuild Manufacturing, Control System, and GunSense. So with that, before we dive into the presentations, we will go over the panel here, just have you introduce yourselves so the companies and everybody here could familiarize themselves a bit with who they'll be presenting in front of. So first we have Albert, Albert Vasquez.
Yeah, hi. Good morning for me. Good afternoon for many of you. I'm Albert Vasquez, based in California, from Sway Ventures. I'm an investment partner, and we invest I'm specialized in supply chain tech.
Great. Thank you so much for joining us, Albert. Up next, we have Casey Van Manen.
Thanks again for having me on, Brian. And hey, everybody, I'm Casey. I'm a senior analyst at LOI Venture up in Vancouver, BC. That fund focuses particularly on sector agnostic companies in early stage rounds, so typically pre-seed to pre-seed, but I do have some experience as a deep tech investor in the past and still scout for a couple of funds in the Bay Area, specifically Palo Alto. Traditionally there, I'm looking for infrastructure or anything innovating in lower adoption industries, so manufacturing, supply chain, construction, and the like.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us. Up next, we have Brian Orgnero.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. I represent Band Venture Partners out of Calgary, Canada. We're a corporate venture capital platform. That's what we're developing. Currently, we're investing into rail tech and adjacencies. So that's what led us here. We're specifically looking for seed, Series A type investments. And our areas of focus on behalf of rail tech are sustainability, IoT, autonomy, those types of themes. So again, thanks for having me.
Sure. Thank you so much for joining us, Brian. Up next, we have David Evans.
Hey everybody, David Evans, Managing Partner, Centero Ventures. We're based in Dallas, Texas. We're an early seed fund focused on applied AI and machine learning. Typical checks for us are between 250 and 750.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us. Happy to have you with us. Up next, we have Eric Steger.
Thanks, Brian, for having me. Brian did a really nice job of introducing Band Venture Partners. So nice to meet everyone.
Nice to meet you too. Thanks for joining. Up next, we have Lisa from GC Ventures.
Hi, Lisa Dufresne, GC Ventures. We are based in Boston, and we're the corporate venture team of PTTGC, Global Chemical for short, Petchem Refinery in Thailand. We have about 30 some odd subsidiaries and JVs under us, big biopolymer producer. And we are looking at advanced materials, clean technologies, circularity, but we also scout for any technology that a petchem refinery might need or any of our subsidiaries. So that scouting can be pretty broad, and I won't bore you with all the things we might look at, but thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Always a pleasure to have you join us, Lisa. Up next, we have Reese Schroeder.
Hello, everybody. Reese Schroeder. I'm with Allstate Strategic Ventures, the corporate venture capital arm of Allstate Insurance Company. We're a Series A through C investor primarily, with check sizes 1 to 10 million. We look at spaces, enterprise SaaS, deep tech, mobility and telematics, and prop tech are probably the key spaces. Very, very happy to be here.
Happy to have you with us. Up next, we have Samira G. Curtis.
Hi, everyone. This is Samira. I'm an investor. I'm a venture partner with VU Funder, VU Venture University. And I just launched this year a startup program, Raw Lab Ventures. We focus on tailor-made programs for startups. And we are an emerging VC, so start raise next year. And I'm also acting as an LP for fund. So yeah, nice to be here. Thank you for your invite, right?
Sure. Thank you for joining. Up next, we have Valentin from TDK.
Hey, hi, Brian. Thanks for the invite. I'm with TDK Ventures. We are the CVC of TDK launched in summer of 2019. Early stage deep tech VC, invest seed, Series A, Series B, and I particularly look at Industry 4.0, robotics, and mobility.
Great. Thank you so much for joining us. And up next, we have Yvonne Lutch.
Thank you, Brian. Yeah, I'm Yvonne Lutch. I'm with Bosch Ventures, the corporate venture arm of the Bosch Group, a German multinational conglomerate of many different industries. We do venture investments like a financial VC, strongly focused on financial return, but we also want to see some strategic fit with the Bosch Corporation. We are investing in AI and all different kind of deep tech things, including semiconductor sensors. We invest in robotics and sustainability, Industry 4.0, of course, manufacturing, automation, all interesting fields, and of course also transportation. We have a sweet spot in Series A and B, but we do some earlier and some later stage investments. And I'm based in California.
Awesome. Thanks so much for joining us. Up next, we have Spendan Saha.
Yeah, I'm representing BDev Ventures. We are focusing on seed to Series A funding. AI is one of our specialties. Industry 4.0 is something that we actively take a look at. We are usually coming in with a check size of $1 million to $5 million. So looking forward to some amazing presentations.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining. So I believe that's it for those who are on right now. Some people will be streaming in a little bit later. They let me know. But for the moment, we could just dive into the presentations. Our first presenter is Jewel Case. So whenever you're ready, I believe it's Alex here from Jewel Case. We'll be pitching. Whenever you're ready, you can share your screen and get going.
Excellent, Brian. Thanks so much. And thank you, panelists, for participating in this event. We're proud to be a part of it. And thank you for taking the time out of your day. Jewel Case was founded in 2015 by myself, Alex Livingston, and my business partner, James Wagner. To date, Jewel Case has been able to bring in $5 million in revenue with $8 million so far raised. So we're very cash efficient. Our first 3 years of business were spent formulating our advanced technology solutions to make battery systems fundamentally a digital fuel. We've already brought in over $2 million in 2024 with another $6 million on the books ready to close by the end of this quarter, putting us on a run rate for up to $15 million, normally tracking. We have thousands of systems in field today. Those are being used by marquee customers like Eaton, United Rentals, DoD customers like Air Force, other Department of Defense groups within the Army, as well as NASA. We've been featured in Fast Company and TechCrunch for our advanced energy systems being able to replace diesel fuel generators in field like no other technology today. Our patents, as well as our product, have been able to scale us up to that revenue run rate of $15 million for 2024, again, with just right around $8 million raised so far in capital. Our 13 key patents create a digital fuel infrastructure system that allow us to replace combustion fuel in field, creating virtually an endless resupply of energy, able to replicate the seamless energy exchange of a combustion fuel system with quiet, thermally unnoticeable power systems, and being able to do that delivering at scale across the planet. Our fuel platform is comprised of two main product categories. The Olympus class of products, which features Zeus and Atlas. Zeus is our power delivery system with 90 to 120 kilowatts of interlinkable AC distribution power that can be linked together with our expandable energy platform, Atlas. Zeus is also capable of providing 400 hertz in field for those applications like starting jet engines, missile systems, and other radar equipment that would be requiring 400 hertz systems in field. Our very energy dense, scalable, stackable 9 kilowatt hour systems are industry leading as far as energy density. And because of our stackability, we're able to expand onboard energy for in-field applications to replace a generator of any size. Our advanced mobile clean tech platform allows us to really simulate any sort of combustion fuel system that's used, whether that's in transportation or whether that's fixed energy systems built into a mobile device, basically a plug and play. Anytime that you have a generator or a traction drive system, we're able to provide a more efficient, cleaner, and easy to replace fuel source than combustion fuels today. We've all heard of distributed energy resources, or DERs, but when you look at that not only as a microgrid in a box, but applied to a forward military base, now you're able to actually utilize some of the systems that are in field. Bringing a gallon of diesel fuel to a forward military base just on ground systems alone has a cost equivalency of $13 a gallon. Whenever you're trying to put that into active military zones, those can go upwards of over $100 a gallon. By being able to have that energy replaced for our base systems and our forward military systems, radar, missiles, we're able to reduce our cost in an operating zone, but also we provide tactical efficiency. Today, many drones are targeting diesel generators because of their heat profile and their noise signature. With our battery systems, we have neither. Our executive team's world-class. My co-founder, James Wagner, and I have a background in energy systems and electronics development, with James having worked at Fluke Electronics, and I was the business strategist for Sharp Electronics National Research Lab in Portland, Oregon. Our chief technology officer comes from Apple, Apple's head of battery, in fact. The guy who's built billions of products with batteries used today in field, our Chief Operating Officer from IBM, Head of Sales globally with BMW. Our CFO has sold several startups many times over, retaining ownership of the company and exiting several times. Our Managing Director of Energy Services comes from Tesla, and our Vice President of Marketing has headed up global companies like Micron. Again, our key intellectual property has been established with years of research and work. Our patents were granted before we began launching commercially with physically and electrically stackable systems to expand energy on the small scale. But really, our marquee product is our modular energy storage system. It's a smart grid in a box. Anything that you want to plug into the system can create anything that you want out of the system, and it's all mobile and modular, being able to expand to any sort of energy platform you would expect to encounter in the field. Some of those include site power, electric vehicle charging, and just simply replacing a generator where it may be needed in field. Of key importance today is what we're doing with the Department of Defense and our deep technology. By being able to provide these silent and thermally non-represented energy systems, we can deliver power in field and not having and delivering a tactical advantage over other systems. We have a score of other very interesting and relevant markets for some of the panelists that are on call, including traction and mobility, getting contracts most recently with Washington, D.C. to provide electric vehicle recharging infrastructure for fleet and their buses. And again, our SMB category is continuing to grow. Across the power ecosystem, Jewel Case stands above all the rest in terms of modularity, power performance, and our ability to move around. Our all-in-one systems stack up against the competition that's starting to enter the space. They're going to be blocked by a number of key patents that do not allow any expansion within those systems, either AC-wise or DC-wise. We're raising $10 million in the Series B round right now. We've been extremely capital efficient, and we're looking to direct these funds to direct growth of the company. We have turnkey manufacturing solutions, partner manufacturing solutions, and contract manufacturing solutions here in the US and globally. It's a massive market. We're able to capitalize on that, bring our products to market at speed, at scale, and we're already tracking for over $15 million in revenue this year. I'm happy to answer any questions.
All right, thank you so much, Alex. So just for everybody here, once the company finishes presenting, we open the floor to questions. And the way questions are asked is follow Samir's lead. You raise your hand on Zoom, and then we'll call on you in the order of hands raised. So Samir, you have a question?
Yes, hi. Thank you, Alex, for your fantastic presentation. My question is about lithium. So a lot of portable power solutions in the market, they have that lithium challenge. So I wonder how you guys dealing with that.
So part of our system of linking batteries together from an Atlas to a Zeus or using any DC-DC coupling, we don't care what that chemistry is. We're not planting a flag to say that lithium is the answer. Right now, that's the one that's leading in energy density and life cycles, but we're moving everything up to a matched DC-DC bus. So the capacity doesn't matter for us, the energy density nor the chemistry matters to us. We match voltage, creating fundamentally a digital fuel. So if it's lithium NCM today for its energy density, if it's lithium titanate for its high cycle life, or sodium ion, we're very chemistry agnostic.
And do you have what is your sales model?
We do direct to customer.
Direct customers.
Okay. That's correct.
Okay, thanks.
All right, great. We have another question from Yvonne.
Yeah, thank you, Alex, for this interesting presentation. I am wondering, can you elaborate a little bit more on your revenue, or which of is like direct product revenue, or is there still some NRE involved?
Typically, if we're taking on any work with a company, so yeah, last question, we do some white boxing and OEM work for a number of marquee customers, and we don't release those publicly as a Jewel Case branded product. Rarely are we taking on NRE, but instead exchanging it for long-term business relation agreements. Some of those are including major industrial electronic manufacturing companies where we don't want to be an engineering company. We want to ensure that we have long-term product sales. We are doing white labeling and white boxing, and we look at our opportunity cost before we onboard one of those customers to make sure that there really is a match for us long-term.
All right, great. We do have time for one more question if anybody has one. Casey.
Thanks, Alex, for the presentation as well. What would the sales cycle be typically for a customer that you're targeting, and then what would be the time to implement?
Average sales cycle from inquiry to close for our small to medium business, whether that's a builder or an individual customer, is 107 days, very specifically. For our larger accounts that need to go through procurement, those can take 3 months to 6 months. Some of them go out a little bit longer than that if it has a special procurement like Washington, D.C., but very typically, once they know what they want, we go about 3 to 6 months before we're through SOW and closed.
Very nice, thank you.
All right, great. So I believe that's all the time we have. I mean, if someone happens to have another question, I'll allow it. Just give a brief pause for that. Okay, but if not, you can always reach out to Alex after the event if you want to find out more. Alex, if you would please leave your contact info in the chat so that people could reach out and discuss further with you. But thank you again so much for your presentation. And right now, I'll also, before introducing the next company, I'll just introduce my co-pilot for this event. We have Asher Radansky, who is the Managing Director of Eagle Point Funding, making a special appearance for this event.
Yeah, howdy everyone. I decided to join for a bit, say hello, and I'm going to help Brian moderate. So if you hear me speaking, it's not speaking out of turn, hopefully. All right. So the next company we have presenting is going to be Allen AI. And the floor is yours whenever you're ready.
Sure. Hey, good morning, everyone. My name is Ramu Sinkra. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Allen AI. We named the company as a tribute to Alan Turing. We let enterprises build AI agents effortlessly, and these agents are very unique in 3 attributes. They are explainable, they can be controlled to do, and they're extensible to do universal set of use cases. And our key approach to this problem is, in any enterprise, the data that resides in enterprise is some of it is static, like websites, manuals, things like that, or is dynamic, generated within the applications and applications data. So we built an AI agent that unifies the data from static and dynamic sources, any real-time source, and put it together in the brain so that the agent can access it and answer any question intelligently. And the 3 key attributes our product offers are, number 1 is, at any given time, we can understand how the AI did the reasoning and what software it executed to give the response back. Then this response is also controlled based on the target application. I'll show you one of them. And this solution is extensible to all possible use cases once the deployment happens, because the AI learns about it and then starts executing new use cases as such very easily. And our product is completely agnostic with any large language model. We have customers using OpenAIs as well as customers using Gemini. And we are also offering the capability for customers to pick their own LLM or bring it in-house. And our product can be used either in an on-premise or a private cloud or in a public cloud environment as well. Today, we have deployments going on as over the private cloud and enterprises, as well as if a public cloud vendor wants to provide a virtual private cloud for government or other entities, we offer a solution. We recently also got branded to be able to deliver solutions for the government for AI deployments, and as well as we provide a SaaS service for customers. Let me walk you through one complex use case where we are live right now. And among all the other use cases, this is like a company called VMware, that is Broadcom's company for private cloud management. And they have a very complex piece of software called NSX. This software manages a whole bunch of their distributed load balancers, firewalls, and security. And for them, the biggest problem is they're not able to find enough people who are talented to manage the software using the existing GUIs or existing management consoles they provided, because these people had to learn the knowledge from all the knowledge base articles, which is static data, as well as the current set of policies that are set up in the system for that particular bank or government organization or so on. And it's very hard for them to get insights, what's going on at any given time, and also to remediate with that and automate the solution. For that, we have deployed an Alan AI platform and NSX AI agent that is used as an IT twin for the administrators on a daily basis to answer any questions, as well as to remediate problems and automate solutions down the road. And this is the first step for us to automate the private cloud operations with Broadcom's NSX product. So let me give you a live demo of this experience, how it is used today. So this software, it's very complicated in the sense that it has a bunch of like load balancers, firewalls, security rules, and so on. And they provide a user interface just like any web application. You see this here. And this application now is empowered with Alan AI's AI agent, which is invoked within the console, and the administrators can go ask any question in natural language, and the AI in the background processes the request based on all the data it learned and all the knowledge memory it picked up. At any given time, we also provide the appropriate interaction links to the existing user interface. So this web application is already built before AI came in. And now within the AI console, the person can click on anything and ask any complicated questions. It refers to the appropriate section in the web pages. This is how, and then how is this built? It's all built using natural language. You train the system saying that, hey, this is how I want you to do a set of requests for me if things were asked. And people say in natural language, these are the steps I do, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And they enter the steps in our backend system. This is Alan AI Studio, where the system goes and learns for itself, hey, this is how I should do reasoning here. And when it gets wrong, it's easily explainable. That is very unique about Alan, is it shows you like, oh, okay, this is how I answered this question by looking at this data and doing this API call and doing this thing. And this is all automatic behind the scenes done by AI. The administrators just ask a simple question, and the people who build the system using our product can get explainable, extensible, and controllable AI solution from Alan. And this is just one instance of our product. And this is how it looks like when it's deployed. The unified brain works with the existing software that is there, and the AI agent is available in the existing consoles which are used by these administrators. Similarly, we're deploying solutions for higher education, where they're deploying AI course assistants. For each course, Iowa State University started to deploy it, University of Wisconsin-Madison, and so on. So we expect like a lot of higher education courses will have AI course assistants starting fall this year. And similarly, we have deployments started to deploy in manufacturing, where people spend a lot of time extracting information from all these static files and putting into their complicated software, and AI can automate this. And that's what we're doing with a couple of manufacturing clients now. And the company has more than half a decade of experience in building AI solutions that are commercially viable. And we raised about $9 million in seed capital to build the platform, and we're generating revenues today. And our market opportunity is pretty large. Anywhere there's enterprise software that's very complicated to use, AI can improve the productivity of the people using the software by a few fold very easily using our platform. And
30-second warning.
Sure, thanks.
Yeah.
And just to give an idea of enterprise landscape, all the software vendors are building in their own AI solutions, and as well as there are do-it-yourself solutions. And we have provided an integrated solution that works for an enterprise to deploy it right away. And the team behind it is me and Andre worked together and built the world's leading AI mobile video platform that becomes part of Skype. And later we are joined by Srikanth, who worked at Google's AI team for 3+ years, and Kelly Stevens, who has a few decades of sales and business development experiences for us. And that's all I have for you. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much. As Brian earlier mentioned, we'll get to questions in the order of hands raised. So Spen, go ahead. And then after that, Reese.
Yeah, thank you, Ram. I think this was one of the most exciting presentations I've seen in a while. One quick question. So I saw that you have patents around multimodal data. So is it for structured, unstructured, both, or semi-structured? What's the thing exactly about? Is it completely multimodal? Like, can you deal with actual videos, or is still getting there?
It is multimodal in 2 ways. One is the multimodal in the experience they have. If the experience is both on web, it is using text. You see all the web GUIs, it offers that user. And second thing is multimodal in terms of it's completely voice enabled too. You can just speak to it and it understands voice, and you can operate the system using either text or voice. And the third thing is multimodal in the sense that we pick up pictures too. In any place, we can process pictures too. And if the user asks a question about a particular component, then the system understands which pictures are relevant for this answer and brings back in that answers and shows to the user, and he can walk it through.
Got it. Thank you.
So it is, yeah, it is. And the biggest thing is we made it, users can use the system without knowing any complexity of the system. They just ask a simple questions. Hey, why is this not working? And the system is smart enough to take all this data and process it and offer a multimodal responses that they can consume today. Sure.
Thank you.
Sure. Perfect. Reese, you're up.
Yeah, I was going to ask, very good presentation. You know, it's very interesting and lots happening in the space. But, you know, there's a lot of companies that are approaching big enterprises like us that are talking about, you know, building agents to do everything from customer experience to call centers and more. My question for you is, when you're in that sort of competitive environment, what are the things that really stand out that matter to a large enterprise when choosing your company?
There are 3 things we do very uniquely, Reese. Number 1 is we take an advantage of a complex software. Like, for example, this whole private cloud management infrastructure. The software is very complex in the sense it has to do a lot of things behind the scenes, right? For that, we provide AI agents. Number 1, right? For any complex software, not just an isolated piece of software, we provide it for complex. Second thing is we provide the experience within the existing consoles. So users are already using the software. The IT administrators are using the software. Students are coming in, taking the course assistant from those software products like web consoles. And we are integrated into that so that we provide the experience within the thing they're using. And third one is, number 1 is explainable, controllable, and extensible solution, which none of them can offer. That's the reason why industry leaders are coming to Alan, like Broadcom and so on, to deploy it.
Thank you.
Perfect. Samira, you're up.
Yes, thank you so much for your presentation. It is a very crowded market. There are a lot of large competitions in this market. And thank you for explaining about your value proposition. That was a little bit my question as well, how you differentiate yourself from the others in the market. So my next question would be, as that one was answered, how does your deal flow looks like, and what are you doing on business right now? Is VMware already a customer, and is that the business case right now, because you were just showcasing one? So how much are you making today?
Yeah. So there are 3 questions here. Number 1 is like, how are we building business? Number 2 is like VMware, and number 3 is like, you know, revenue stream, right? Mm-hmm. So we are building businesses in 2 ways. Number 1 is we are working with people who can take our AI platform and build an AI agents and distribute with their software. Like, for example, like Broadcom's VMware has more than 60,000 paying customers. And we are the AI platform for them. So they take it, and we started doing with one of their products Tomorrow they'll expand other products, that's how we'll get distribution. And the same thing we're doing with lots of other private technology vendors in both networking space and security space and so on, right, for all the things. Number two is we have a SaaS offering where people can come and try the product for themselves using their platform on public cloud. And once they like it enough, they invariably in enterprise want to deploy it in a private AI settings, the sense that they want it to be fully contained and all those stuff. We provide that experience too, and that is where they're doing it, right? And the third one is we started generating revenue in this calendar year, right? And our revenue will go up by 4x to what we did in first quarter to second quarter. And we are on target to cross at least $1 million in ARR in this year itself.
Thank you. Where are you based?
We are based in the Bay Area.
Okay, nice. Me too.
Perfect. Thank you so much for presenting. I really enjoyed it. And feel free, there's a question in the chat and the Q&A. So don't forget before you sign off, make sure to address both of those, because I know it might be easy to miss because it's two different places. But thank you so much. All right,
Sure.
Next up, we have
Thank you.
Knightscope. Presenting for Knightscope will be Will.
Greetings, everyone. My name is William Santana Lee. I am the chairman and CEO of Knightscope. We're a public safety technology innovator. We've got this slightly grandiose long-term mission to see if we can make the United States of America the safest country in the world. To put the problem in context, our nation has about 2.5 million law enforcement officers and security guards operating 24/7. And you can't triple shift a human. So at any given time, you maybe only have 600,000 humans trying to secure 332 million Americans across 50 states with the technological equivalent of a number 2 pencil and a notepad. We would never dare put a soldier in a theater of war with this level of lack of capability. But somehow we do that to our officers and guards on our own soil. And so we've been trying to correct and rectify that injustice over the last 11 years. Before the public listing 2 years ago, we had raised about $120 million to build all this technology from scratch. We design it, we engineer it, we build it, deploy it, and support it across the country. So everything kind of on the left side here is in production. The stuff on the right side is new concepts and development work. And the idea here is to put 1 million machines in network that can operate 24/7 and can give officers and guards really smart eyes, ears, and their voice on the ground in multiple locations at the same time while providing a physical deterrence. This is a unique combination of 4 very difficult technologies, all integrated into one, and that would be autonomy, level 5, full self-driving, no remote control, robotics, AI, and electric vehicle technology. Probably the one that you've seen operating across the country is our K5. This is 5 foot tall, 400 pounds, and roams around primarily wherever you might see an officer or guard patrolling. So corporate campuses, commercial real estate, a lot of municipalities, manufacturing plants, logistics facilities, etc. And we've had a lot of success, and everyone told us we were out of our mind when we started this company 11 years ago. And now I'm more than pleased to report that not only did we get it working, we've had clients renew for 4, 5, 6, 7, even 8 years for our machine as a service subscription. Lifetime revenue probably north of 30 million. Last year we ended the year with nearly 13 million of top line revenue. We've now operated in the field across the country in every single US time zone for nearly 3 million hours across probably 8 or 9 summers and winters. So we've learned a thing or two on how you go about deploying this really complicated set of technologies in a very difficult public safety issue for the country. For those of you that are tied to corporations or the like, one of the unique sales process that has been very helpful, and if you would like to be the hero at your organization and bring the robots to your doorstep, we have this fun-filled robot roadshow, or as I call it, the robot aquarium, that's now traversed across the country, probably north of 100 locations across probably half the states, to give an opportunity for prospective clients to be able to see, feel, touch, and understand how the technology works. And there's a bunch of crazy big screens in there, so you can have a telepresence sales executive walk you through how the technology works. And one of the reasons we do this is because no one in the history of mankind has ever done this before. And the decision-making process for our business-to-business and business-to-government clients is somewhat convoluted. So getting all the decision makers into one mobile roadshow at the same time can be extremely helpful in the sales process. And that's why we've continued the Robot Roadshow. If you want to check out the schedule, just go to knightscope.com/roadshow. I think we're in Ohio this week. For the last 3 years, we went through a slightly nightmare cybersecurity review process with the U.S. federal government. Recently has announced that we've gotten our authority to operate. Our sponsor is the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs, and the machine actually literally just shipped out this week. So we'll hopefully be deploying it here at our first VA hospital in Texas. And as you might know, the federal government has a lot of physical locations that are analogous to the private sector, and we'd like to apply all our learnings from the private sector to all the identified opportunities that you can read much more quickly than I can walk through. But again, this is an opportunity to provide unprecedented situational awareness for officers and guards to be able to do their jobs much, much more effectively. So our portfolio of current production products are designed again and engineered and manufactured by us. And just quickly go through this. So we've got the K5 that's primarily used outdoors, again, 400 pounds, 5 feet tall, can read several hundred license plates a minute, can run a thermal scan of the environment, can detect a person. You can do a two-way human-to-human call. There's a distress button on here. The machines generate over 90 terabytes of data a year that no human could ever process. So we provide a browser-based user interface for folks to be able to utilize that. And then we can do that monitoring on the client's behalf if they don't have a security operations center. We have a smaller K3 version that's used for indoors. We've got a stationary one that a lot of the casinos seem to love, wherever ingress, egress locations for lots of humans or lots of vehicles. This one we just launched. It's 75 cents an hour, so no one's got an excuse for not using the best technology out there to better secure the places people live, work, study, and visit. And this is an opportunity to do a very low-cost version of our subscription service with 180-degree view, strobe light, intercom capability, etc. We've also released automated gunshot detection. So if you put these AI-driven array of smart microphones every couple of hundred feet, you can detect a gunshot within 2 seconds with 2-meter accuracy. So imagine if you had 2 football fields, you probably would need maybe 9 sensors to be able to do this very carefully. And then you've probably seen these blue light poles, call boxes, emergency phones, etc. We have nearly 10,000 of these across the country. And what we're intending to do over the coming years is do a massive AI public safety infrastructure upgrade to get all these machines to be able to see, feel, hear, smell, and speak, and do 100 times more than a human could ever possibly do. We have some retrofit kits as well, and we're based here in Silicon Valley, and we trade on NASDAQ under the ticker KSCP. And that is our story.
Perfect. Perfect. Thank you so much. As mentioned, feel free to, go ahead, Samira.
Just a very, very short question. Thank you so much, William. I definitely believe that maybe less than 10 years, we all even self have any kind of robot that does this multiple tasks in our homes. So great job. I think this is definitely great, a great market for you at this moment. My question is, where are you building these robots? Because you started talking about national security, and so I'm wondering where actually are this robots are building today.
We physically build them here in Mountain View, California. We
Awesome.
build them ourselves.
Okay,
Everything's made in the US and certified as such.
great. Thank you.
Perfect, Sven, and go ahead and then Yvonne.
Yeah, quick questions. First of all, wonderful presentation. Quick question here. To whom are you selling the K5 units? Like, is it only the police that who's interested, but also the casinos? Who is your target audience there primarily?
So I think it's ill-advised for younger companies to do business to government sales as the initial go-to-market. So we intentionally, for the last several years, have been very much focused on B2B. So casinos, hospitals, commercial real estate, corporate campuses, etc. We are now starting to add local law enforcement, municipalities, and then obviously the U.S. Federal government.
Thank you.
Perfect. Yvonne, you're up.
Thank you, William. I hope that the emergency poles along Stevens Creek trails are yours. I value them. I appreciate them a lot because they give me a lot of sense of safety as a runner, running along Stevens Creek Trail. I don't know whether I missed it, but how do you maintain privacy with all the robots and eventually also cameras?
Great question. And we operate in public spaces. So the concept of privacy really kind of doesn't apply. We're not in conference rooms. We're not in a restroom or a hotel room or the like. So if I put a security guard in front of your home or your office, not invading your privacy. I think the biggest issue is this: an analyst, when we announced the company back in 2013, said something to the effect of, this is exactly the type of surveillance technology that puts people on edge. And my answer to him then, my answer to him 11 years later is the same. You know what puts people on edge? Getting shot at. I don't believe that the founders of our country ever expected us to build a society where going to school, going to work, or going to a movie theater literally came with the risk of being shot or killed. We have a violent crime occurs every 26 seconds in our country and a property crime every 4 seconds. This is not acceptable, and the local, state, and federal government are not set up to fix the problem. The Department of Justice and the Department of Homeland Security have no federal jurisdiction over the 19,000 law enforcement agencies and 8,000 private security firms. There's no innovation process, no risk capital, and unlike the Department of Defense is an awesome, massive military industrial complex to build a soldier, whatever he or she might need in a theater of war, we don't have that on our own soil. So I'm going to, with our 35,000 investors that help back the company to get this going, we are going to force a massive change on how we do public safety.
Perfect. Casey, you're up.
Thanks, Asher, and thanks, William, for the presentation. Very curious in terms of the breakdown of the suite of products in terms of which sells the most or which is the most expansive in your mind. And then another question on the robots as well, at least the ones that are mobile. As you expand, say, to the Midwest, the Atlantic, anywhere that has different weather conditions, are those essentially built for sub-zero temperatures, snow? How can they navigate in different environments?
Yeah, on the environmental one, we've literally gone through 8 or 9 winters and summers, including polar vortexes in Minnesota and crazy heat in the deserts and everything in between. So most security guards aren't too excited to be patrolling in Vegas at 110 degrees outside. And these machines are literally made to do that. Probably the only time we're not patrolling is when there's 16 inches of snow outside, and neither are the humans and neither are the criminals out there, doing mischief. In terms of the breakdown of the portfolio today, a majority is the stationary stuff. And surprisingly, although it's older technology, the sales continue to grow because folks are looking to place some physical presence, some emergency communications, and sometimes your phone literally is no power. You don't have a signal. You can't make a phone call. And then when you do, the GPS coordinates may or may not unlikely correct for the people taking the call. So if you call from an emergency phone, they actually know exactly where you're at. I think over time, it's going to be fascinating what the mix looks like. I believe it's going to end up being a larger mix on the autonomous mobile side, but we're going to find out. And if you want to pull down the entire deck, which has some of the market breakdown stuff, Casey, you just go to knightscope.com/innovation, and the entire deck is there for you.
Great, thank you.
Perfect. I think that's all the questions, unless we have any left. It looks like there's at least one in the chat or the Q&A. Thank you so much, Bill. Really great presentation. And
thanks, everyone.
Absolutely. And then next up, we are going to have, give me a second. It is, my computer obviously decides to start loading now. But I believe bot built. Go right ahead.
Awesome. What should I target as far as wrap up, Asher? Because I know we're supposed to be 2, but 2:05, or what do you think?
Yeah, 2:05 is fine. Take your time. Basically, take the 10 minutes at least.
All right. Thanks. Awesome presentations today from everybody. I've really enjoyed listening, so thank you all. My name is Colin. I'm one of the founders of BotBuilt, and we use robots to build houses. So the housing crisis is in the news a lot, and we all feel the pinch every single month. And this slide says it well, I think. I mean, the core problems are that we don't have nearly enough houses. We're somewhere between 3 and 5 million units short, depending on how you calculate it. And the industry is facing a labor shortage. It's getting worse every single year. So we're already many hundred thousands of jobs short, and we're going to be about 3 million short by the end of the decade, because a huge percentage of the people who work in construction today are going to retire. And so we have a huge labor problem that's only going to get worse. And so we have to do something to solve that. And at BotBuilt, what we do is we use robots to help. So for a variety of reasons that we can talk about more in the Q&A, if you'd like, we chose to focus on framing first, which is about 20% of the cost of a home. So that's going from the foundation, the concrete foundation typically, up to the fully framed in structure. That's around $60,000 to $70,000 a home, depending on the location and the size of the home. And so there's already this pre-existing market to build houses in components, in pieces, rather than fully on the site. But the vast majority, 99.99% of those components are built completely by people or with very limited automation. And so the market already exists for wall panels, floor trusses, roof trusses, and we are simply bringing robots to that market. So the benefits, it's a pretty typical robotic story, and that faster, higher quality, more efficient. Like William was saying, I mean, you don't have to worry about 3 shifts or 2 shifts or 1 shift. Robots can just run 23 hours a day, need a little time for maintenance, but they can run nearly 24/7, 365. And that's the beauty of our system. And so really what we're doing is we're tapping into this existing market, and we're making the components, walls, floors, and roofs much cheaper. So we're building homes today. We're actually, just today, we got 4 more robots delivered to our first big production facility. So we're scaling that up. We're kind of leaving our initial proof of concept phase, and we're beginning to scale. So we've raised $12.5 million so far. We'll do a Series A later this year to really scale up and open up some production factories. But this pretty much tells you how it works. So the first thing we do is that we digest the building plan. So we're able to take just a PDF, get it into our system, and then we can put it into a format that our robots can understand. So then our robots build the components. We're starting with walls. We're building walls in our factory now, and we'll do floors and roofs shortly. And then we ship the components to the job site. And then overall, we make framing better, faster, cheaper, and more efficient. So the good news is we have a ton of demand. So we now have 13 patents at various points in the process. This is a little out of date, we've now built 12 different home designs. We've got thousands of home on order. So really the only bottleneck for us is just robots and kind of operational excellence. It's not quite like software in that you can't just, instantly go from your first user to your 10th. But the good thing about it is that's also an amazing moat, because we've built hardware and kind of complete software system that no one else in the industry has. And so there's an amazing moat, both our patents and also the execution moat that we found going from these systems that we're installing will be our third, fourth, and fifth operational systems. So these are some of the houses we built. We can build any design. There's no limitation. We don't have to go to the builder and say, hey, we can only build, from A, B, or C. Every single house we built has been different, and we can build just about any design that the builders want us to build. The reason that builders want to do this at the end of the day, builders are pretty simple. Most of these builders have 10, 15, maybe 17% margins at the end of the day. And so every dollar is very important to them. So they want to save money. And because the typical framer on the site is around $30 to $40 an hour, depending on where you are, and our robots are about 75 cents an hour to run all in, including the electricity. So that's the great thing about the essential economics, and at scale, they'll be able to run nearly all the time. These are some of our customers. We've got a ton of demand, multifamily, single family. We build across the spectrum. Everyone's interested in it. And just kind of in the industry 4.0 stuff, what sets us apart is that most houses in multifamily buildings are still built what's called stick framing, which just means on the job site, a bunch of pieces of wood are dropped off, and then the houses are built by the crew on the site. You also have some kind of like rudimentary kind of CNC type equipment that some builders and some offsite manufacturers use, but it's very inflexible. There's very little software. You need a lot of operators. It scales slowly, and each system is huge. Whereas what we do is we just work with industrial arms off the shelf. We literally buy them off eBay. And so there's no limit to the number of arms we can use. We actually, many of our arms we get used from automotive because they go out of automotive spec, and when they hit about 0.2 millimeters of precision, and for construction, we can deal with 0.2 millimeters of precision quite nicely. And so there are a ton of robots out there, and we'll use the Series A proceeds to go and buy dozens of robots and scale up dramatically. This is me and my co-founders. Brent's got amazing experience in some prior exits and in the military. My co-founder Barrett, an amazing robotics guy that's worked on a bunch of robots. We went through YC, got some great industry investors like Owens Corning, Ambassador United Built Homes, Shadow Ventures, and others. So we got some typical VCs as well as some industry partners on there who are very helpful because they understand the industry quite well. Also got some great advisors, various types, and really our goal is to start with framing. It's about $100 billion market in the US every year, just framing, just in the US. There's, of course, international possibility. And in addition to that, we very much intend to go beyond just framing and go to other parts of the process and have robots on site and robots doing other things down the road. But our focus for a while will be getting extremely good at framing and being able to just take a plan, process it instantly, and build the framing components, walls, floor, roof for that plan, better, faster, and cheaper than anyone else ever has. So that's the core of what we're trying to do, and really driving all that is our desire to make housing more affordable. So thank you for your time, and happy to talk about any questions.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Colin. All right, hands in. Yep, Lisa, go right ahead.
Hey, super interesting. So I'm curious to understand application-wise. I'm literally thinking about two houses being built across the street. One has like roof trusses arriving pre-built. They had to use a crane to assemble it. The other is stick built, couple guys on the job, no cranes to put it up. So how do you think about like, are you in applications where a crane is already used and so it can come sort of pre-assembled and that is already considered part of the cost of building the house? Because it's quite a difference between having 3 or 4 people on site and no large equipment where you're just putting up a 2x4 at a time.
Yeah, that's a great question. It's definitely builder specific. So some builders, generally it's correlated with how big they are. So the bigger builders will often have something like a crane in their subdivision already, because if you can imagine if they're building 300 houses close to each other, they might have one crane that they drive literally from one job site to the next in the same subdivision. And so in those cases, at scale, we might build the panels a little bigger, and that might affect the size of the crew, how the crew's compensated. because one of the beauties of the system at scale is that if you have the house come in, instead of thousands of 2x4s, if you have it come in, maybe 80 pieces for the walls and 30 pieces for the roof, then it's much faster to put it together. And so all of a sudden, these framers make $5, $6, $7, $8 a foot generally. And so for a $3,000 house, they're making $15,000 to $25,000 to frame the house. And so if that can be 2 guys and a crane that frame it, all of a sudden you can get a lot of efficiency, and the framers can still make more money because all of a sudden they don't have to have a 6 to 8 person crew. It's going to take 2 weeks. They can have a 2 to 3 person crew take 2 days. And so we work with our customers, and we're working right now with 2 top 100 builders, and when both of them do about 40 homes a month in our particular area in the Research Triangle in North Carolina. And so with them at scale, we would definitely change the business model so that if we're supplying everything, we probably have a crane there all the time, and their crews get smaller over time, and they just get more and more efficient every single time. But it's a great question because we work with some builders where it's just one, if it's a one-off small, we'll probably just do no equipment and just drop it off and have them move it around with their hands. Thanks.
Perfect. We have time for another question. Otherwise, Colin, you want to talk a little bit more about while people are thinking, coming up with it,
Yeah.
You want to talk a little bit more about traction within, like the U.S. federal government, or just in general, traction that you'd want to highlight?
Yeah, I mean, we have tons and tons of demand, like I said. So we've got hundreds of homes on order. We're just building them as fast as we can because scaling up is a challenge. So by the end of the year, we're looking for that ballpark of, somewhere around 7 to 10 homes a month going out, and then it'll increase dramatically from there. Then in terms of the federal government, yeah, they're interested in a lot of different parts of it. But I think at a macro level, what we're really excited about is what we've done is we've created a manufacturing system that's flexible, meaning that we can just literally upload a PDF and then the output comes out at the end of the system. And so that's flexible manufacturing at its core, right? So there's no reason that underlying technology couldn't be applied to all sorts of manufacturing, machining, all kinds of things, where you upload your input file and you can get various outputs with no or very minimal human work in the middle in terms of having a very efficient manufacturing cycle. So down the road in the future, I think that there are verticals beyond construction that we're excited about in terms of places we can bring robotics and robotic precision and make those industries more efficient.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Perfect. Last chance for anyone who has a question. Final offer. Okay. Anyone can reach out to Colin after. Colin, make sure to leave your contact info in the chat because I'm sure you'll get a bit from there. And then also on top of that, I think make sure to look in the chat in the Q&A just in case there's any other questions. Thank you so much, Colin.
Absolutely.
So next up,
thanks, Asher.
Perfect. Next up, we're starting session 2. For session 2, we're gonna start. I guess we're starting a little early. I know there's some people joining now. So what we'll do is, Brian, do you wanna go around with the panel?
Sure. So thanks again to all the panelists who were on for the first session. Feel free, of course, to stay for the second one. I don't have the list right in front of me between who's first and second. So even if you're first and you happen to still be on here, and I call on you, don't be shy. You could introduce yourself briefly, just to keep this simple. So first we have Albert Vasquez.
Yeah, hi, Albert Vasquez from Sway Ventures, based in California. We invest in up to $10 million tickets. Currently deploying capital from our fund number 3, and I'm specialized in supply chain tech. So that starts from digital tactics for product development, anything related to sourcing, planning, and procurement, smart warehousing, a smart factory, agile fulfillment, and connected customer.
Great, happy to have you with us. Up next, we have Adam Weiss.
Hello, everybody. Sorry for the delay. I'm very happy to be here. I'm the Director of Strategy and Business Development at Mobileye. I come from the field of autonomous and AI technology, specifically focusing on vehicles and automobiles.
All right, great. Thank you so much for joining. Up next, we have Alana from Autodesk.
Hello, my name is Alana Monkunsavat. I work in Autodesk Research, and my background is in manufacturing and mechanical engineering.
Great. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you.
Up next, we have Casey.
I'm Casey. I'm the director of the Army Applications Lab. We're an innovation organization at Army Futures Command, and our mission is to expand the Army's access to our civil innovation base and make it easier for non-traditional companies to work with the DoD.
Great. Thank you so much for joining us. Up next, we have Lena McDonald.
Yeah, hi, I'm Lena McDonald from Outsiders Fund based in Manhattan. We focus predominantly on sort of seed Series A companies in antiquated, outdated spaces that are sort of slowly being brought into the 21st century. We're investing out of our second fund right now. Check size is sort of between 0.5 to 8 million. Yeah, happy to be here.
Happy to have you with us. Thank you so much for joining. Up next, we have Lisa from GC.
Hi, Lisa Dufresne, GC Ventures, corporate venture arm of PTT GC, which is a petchem refinery in Thailand. Our team is based in Boston. So we invest mainly in materials and clean tech and circularity, but we also scout for technologies for our parent company and any one of our 30 some odd subsidiaries that are looking for some problem to be solved.
Great. Thanks for being with us. Up next, we have Reese Schroeder.
Hi, Reese Schroeder from Allstate Strategic Ventures, the corporate venture capital arm of Allstate Insurance. We look at enterprise technologies, deep tech, frontier tech, prop tech, and mobility and telematics primarily. We're a Series A through C investor. Check size is 1 to 10 million, and very happy to be here.
Happy to have you with us. Up next, we have Samira G. Curtis. Oh, Samira, you're muted.
Hi. Yeah, this is Samira. I'm an investor with the VU Venture Fund, and I just launched a startup program because I believe everything needs to be tailored and precision, including working with the startups. And so I'm an investor, and I am focusing on pre-seed and seed and agnostic market. But of course, my background is tech, so I'm pretty much tech focused, and Web3 and AI and circular economy.
Great. Thank you so much for being with us. And up next, we have Yuan Liu.
Hi, this is Yuan from Hypertherm Ventures. We're a corporate VC under Hypertherm, which is a global leader in industrial cutting. So my team invests in early stage companies with applications for advanced manufacturing, so things like robotics, industrial IoT, AI, machine learning, 3D printing, advanced materials, and this year also a little bit more about workforce development and industrial sustainability. We go from C to Series B, writing checks from a couple 100,000 to 3 million, depending on the round.
Great. Thank you so much for being with us. We also have Yvonne Ludge with us.
Oh, sorry, I have to turn on my video again. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Brian, again. So I'm with the Bosch Ventures group. We are the corporate venture arm of the Bosch Corporation. We do strategic investments with a financial return in startups globally. I'm based in California, and we are interested in many different areas that are fitting to helping Bosch strategy to become even a better technology enterprise. And we are interested in, of course, in Industry 4.0, which is also kind of the theme of today. Advanced manufacturing, robotics, AI, transportation, mobility, climate tech, construction supply chain, semiconductors, and some other areas I'm probably missing right now.
Great. Okay, thank you so much for being with us. And up next, we have Irina Litchfield.
Pleasure to be here. You guys are all so amazing.
My name is Irina. I am a partner of a boutique a holding company. Space Technologies is our drive right now. Our background is in blockchain and crypto industry. And I'm also a rancher, and it's a pleasure to be here.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much for joining us. So with that, we will jump into the presentations for the second session. And first we have On Scene. So whenever you're ready, I believe we have Mike here with us to present.
Okay, hey, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Mike Lanise. Let me blow up my screen. Okay, yeah, so my name is Mike Lanise. I'm the CEO and one of the co-founders of On Scene. I'm also a colonel in the U.S. Army Reserve. So On Scene is an AI-powered mobile workforce management platform that helps commanders and managers visualize, allocate, and coordinate their inherently mobile field resources. So our platform is comprised of the following components. So in the middle, there's an admin console and dashboard for commanders, managers, and administrators. On the left-hand side, there's an app for primary field resources. On the right, there's an app for third-party resources. And then down below, there's a robust API so we can connect into other systems. In the middle, there's a smart forms builder for directed work. And then last but not least, it's the most important component, the optimizer, which is really the brains of our system and uses resource allocation AI to connect incoming requests for services to suitable, available, and proximate resources. We're currently in 4 markets. So defense, home health care, and specifically the development of disabilities market, state government, and property and casualty insurance. So in the defense market, we're building a solution to help the Air Force manage their installation operations. These are typically the very unsexy operations, not the kinetic operations, but the unsexy stuff like logistics and facilities management. Our current contract is focused on emergency management operations. And specifically for this use case, we're looking at aviation mishaps, crashes on runways. And then in the disabilities market, our solution is focused on using technology to improve the independence and care for individuals with disabilities. We just received a new $1 million grant to build an AI-powered statewide marketplace that will help connect people who need care with the resources who can provide care. So resource allocation AI uses artificial intelligence to optimize the distribution and use of available resources in a process. So think of people, places, and things. A system powered by resource allocation AI should also use real-time analytics metric KPIs to continuously improve operations in either a semi-autonomous or fully autonomous mode. And lastly, our resource allocation AI can be applied to several Industry 4.0 use cases, such as smart manufacturing, supply chain optimization, predictive maintenance, energy management, and quality control. And I would be happy to take any follow-on questions you have.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you so much, Mike. All right. Just for the panelists that have recently joined, just so everyone remembers, we'll get to questions in order of hands raised. So feel free to raise your hand on the Zoom. It's under reactions and the Zoom options, and we'll get to the question. So feel free. All right. While people are getting warmed up, Mike, do you want to expand a little bit more on some of the federal traction or some of the federal projects or whatever you're able to expand on there, if you'd be able to?
Yeah. So there's a program in the government generally called SBIR, Small Business Innovation Research. And the SBIR contracts allow smaller companies like us, startup technology companies like us, to get Air Force contracts in this case, but also other defense agencies and other federal agencies throughout the federal government. So we have a SBIR Phase 2, which is a pretty advanced contract, and we are currently engaged with the Air Force, primarily at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, but we're expanding to other Air Force bases like Hill Air Force Base in Salt Lake City to design and implement our solution for emergency management. So in other words, if an aircraft has a mishap on a runway, for example, the AI will step in and start the process of engaging in emergency management operations. So the Emergency Operations Center, before it even becomes fully staffed, will have AI starting to coordinate resources to help fix the problem and address the emergency at hand.
That's really fascinating, actually. And then in terms of that, I guess, would there be other use cases associated with that? So just you talk about a runway, but what else could it be used for potentially, just to kind of
as I mentioned, what we're really gearing our solution towards are all the unsexy processes and workflows that exist on an installation. So an installation or a base is really just a small city, and the city, like any city, contains lots of kind of back-end processes and operations like facilities management, even dining facilities, for example, where the soldiers and airmen go to eat. They have a problem with food waste. So how do you actually figure out how much food to order based on an influx or an outflow of personnel on a particular day or week or month? So there's a lot of applications for us. We're not blowing stuff up. That's not part of what we do. We're helping fix those core behind the scenes operations and processes that not a lot of people think about, but actually end up costing a lot of money and a lot of attention. And obviously a lot of our attention should be focused downrange in building lethality in the armed forces.
Sure. Irina, you have a question? Go right ahead.
I do. Can you talk a little bit more specifically about the source, I guess, of your technology with AI? Is it proprietary? Are you running your own servers, or you using agents? What's the scope, and what platform or platforms you're using?
Yeah, so it's kind of all the above at this point. We are LLM agnostic, and that might change in the future, maybe the near future. But we think we can get everything we need from a variety of LLMs. We're focused heavily on agents. So agents to coordinate a lot of the activity, and almost to have a digital twin for every person that would need to perform a role in, for example, an emergency operations center. So for example, you have the environmental people, obviously the incident commander, but the environmental people, the medical people, even the public affairs people. They all have a role to play in the emergency operations center, and they all need help in drafting some of their material, in making sure that all of the checklists are being followed, making sure that things are happening on time, at the right place with the right people. So even starting at the very beginning, where you have resources, some of those resources need to be certified to do certain jobs, right? So the AI will do an automatic check, for example, in the very beginning phases, to make sure that the resources that they're trying to spin up to fight the fire or save the pilots in the aircraft have the requisite skills and certifications if necessary. If they don't, then those resources won't even be considered in the overall solution.
Thank you.
Perfect. You're up. Last question.
Yeah, hi. I'm curious for the advanced, like the smart manufacturing part of it. Like, so have you ever worked with customers so far that have existing like MES and like ERPs and like the systems in place? Like, how does integration work in that kind of aspect?
Yeah, so we haven't done it yet. I set those out as examples of things that our resource allocation will eventually be able to tackle. But we've got a lot of experience from previous companies that we've had of doing integration. We built our API really to integrate from the ground up. We never thought our solution would be the entire universe of the solution. In fact, quite the contrary, we knew that we would need to always and everywhere integrate with other great solutions. So that's how we intend to operate in the Air Force. That's how we currently operate in the home healthcare disabilities market. There's always some kind of system of record that we have to tie into. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Mike. Feel free to also, I know the information's already on the screen, but feel free to also leave your email in the chat in case someone doesn't want to type it out. They could quickly click it and get to you. And I'm sure there'll be hopefully some ongoing conversations from there. Thank you so much for the presentation. And with that, we're going to move forward. And next up is Rebuild Manufacturing.
Okay, hello everyone. Let me just get this
Howdy.
set up. Is everyone seeing my screen okay?
Not yet.
No. Let's see. Oh, there we go. How about now?
It's coming.
I think it's loading. Yep. And and it just has to be presenter mode, but then
Yep,
it should
I
be
got
good to
you.
go.
All right.
Perfect.
Well, thank you everyone for coming in today, and I'm glad to be here. My name is Evan Pascalis. I'm the Director of Business Development for Industrial Systems and Automation here at Rebuild Manufacturing. So Rebuild's goal and why we exist today is to rekindle American industry. Our purpose is to provide solutions and sustainable jobs in regions that have been affected by offshoring in the past. I'll get into it in a second, but we really provide product innovation, industrial automation, and component and complex systems production services right here in the US. Who we are as a company? Well, Rebuild Manufacturing was founded in 2020 to reinvigorate the US industrial base. 4 bullets here, we've got a strong balance sheet with 0 debt and an investor base that is committed to the long-term goals of this project. In terms of acquisitions, we are a family of 11 businesses, actually 12 now, across the US, and with a model of long-term growth. Traditionally in private equity, buy a company, turn it around, and sell it at some exit multiple. That's not the case here. We've created this family of businesses, and we are growing it organically from there. And with all of those businesses, we've made heavy investments in lean and continuous improvement processes throughout. And just in general, in engagements with our customers, we treat them as partners. We're here to support them in their efforts to optimize processes, designs, and operational efficiencies across the board. So here's a little map of where we're located, particularly for my realm. I'm focused on DAPR up in Nashua, New Hampshire, and Optimation in Rochester, New York. This is where most of our industrial automation work happens. In partnership, though, with our digital group that sits either in the Resource Center in Framingham, Massachusetts, or our core software group just outside of Los Angeles. This is just a brief overview of kind of all of our core competencies. So it's product innovation. So think OEM product development, branding, complex systems productions, for example, like large battery energy storage systems, containerized products, things of that nature. Component production, thermoset and thermoplastic composites, and metallics, and then industrial automation. So bespoke process development, optimization, digitization, all that good stuff. So the value proposition for our partners really is, we're an industry leader for process design, engineering, and then build and integration services for both discrete and batch automation. Both of our technical teams and our commercial teams, well, obviously technical teams, but our commercial teams all have technical backgrounds to support you throughout the project lifecycle and really understand your needs as we move forward. And with that, we combine the best of process design and engineering and data science, machine learning to provide our clients with the critical data that's important to them after we've delivered the system to optimize their equipment's efficiency and their ROI. So in terms of what we offer, I think the two ones that I'd like to hit on here, just for the sake of time, are the wealth of engineering resources that we have at our disposal across the company. We're about 1,000 people today, and over 500 of them are engineers. And the digitization capabilities that we're able to integrate into our equipment that comes with a platform that we put on our equipment that's delivered, but it extends beyond that to existing solutions that may already be in someone's factory that we can tie into that equipment. So hitting on the core of our industrial automation businesses, it's bespoke process development. What we make here is custom equipment for our clients. We partner with them from the get, and we engage in a rigorous project management phase-gated approach to all of our projects, so that at the end of the day, our clients are getting exactly what they need from the project, and we're able to provide them with that. And just a couple examples here. The image on the top left is a centrifuge, automated centrifuge station, and then the one just below it is a automated fuel cell stacking station. And then for our digital solutions, as manufacturers ourselves, we've been able to understand the pain points that our industry peers might be seeing. And by gaining the expertise in our digital arm, we're able to provide solutions for them that are really able to transform their equipment through data management and visualization, bidirectional data connections, advanced IoT integration, and then machine learning and AI. And just some use cases, some case studies from that. One of a composite manufacturer that we work with was having a nightmare with a high value product that they are selling to a customer. We were able to come in there and really put some sensors and some hardware, very, very minimally invasive, but within their process. And we were able to create a learning factory platform that was able to improve their yields over 45%. They're going from a 50% scrap rate to under 10%, and their equipment reliability was able to go up as well, as we were able to do predictive maintenance on their equipment as well. So they went from the oven failing twice a month down to zero. It's constantly up and running. And then another one, and if anyone is going to be at Automate 2024 in Chicago, you'll actually be able to get a live demo of this system. But we were working with a battery cell manufacturer that was having to manually inspect and test each battery cell that was coming off of their line. That process makes up about just under half of the total build time of a battery pack. So what we were able to do is design, build, and deliver this automated system that took the entire pack build time from 170 minutes down to 90, right? So there's some real value there. And then the ask on our end is, we're looking for collaborative partners to push the boundaries of advanced manufacturing. We view each client as a partner, and we're able to support projects with minimal scope. We've worked, I'm not kidding here, off of, back of napkin sketches. We'll work with you to define the exact requirements. Everything that we work in, we take a phased approach so that we're really working at our partner's speed. And each project is given a dedicated project manager to interface with the customer, keep our technical teams on task, and they manage this throughout the entire project lifecycle. And we're industry agnostic. We've worked with everyone from food and bev to petrochemical. So there's, like I said, a glut of engineering resources here that we're able to take advantage of. And that's me. Any questions?
Reese.
Oh, okay. Yeah, my question, I mean, it sounds like a really cool mission. Are your target clients, going back to, sort of the mission, are your target clients like companies that have had to close a facility or dramatically downsize the facility because of the foreign competition, and you're coming in, modernizing the facility, allowing them to hire back people and be more competitive? Is that how it works?
That is definitely one part of it. The other part is working with smaller companies that are just starting up, they have a technology that works at lab scale or on a lab bench, and they need to scale that up for commercialization, right? So we hit on both ends of the spectrum.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Perfect.
All right.
Can you guys hear me, Samara?
Yes.
Perfect.
So I have a question regarding your business model. This
Yes.
can be quite capital intensive, or maybe I'm just wrong. You can tell me about it, how intensive it is, capital intensive it is, and also about your supply chain management. I think that can be also pretty complex, I would assume. But could you help me a little bit to understand your business model and how capital intensive it is or not, and your supply chain management? Thank you.
Sure. So I'll say our business model is moderately capital intensive. Our investment group is, like I had mentioned before, significant. I think we've raised just shy of $500 million, and they are in it for the long term. In terms of, correct me if I'm wrong here, but I'll answer it from a project perspective. These are capital equipment investments that our clients are making. That said, we are able to work with them on their budget, right? We don't work in a vacuum where they give us their scope of work and their needs. We don't go away in a cave for 6 months and come back and say, okay, here you go. It's a very collaborative process. We work within all constraints. It's that relationship that we're able to manage. In terms of supply chain management, I would say the companies that we have invested in and have brought into our network, they're set up very well. Otherwise, I don't think Rebuild would have invested in them in the first place. So we have a very robust, very strong supply chain network that is primarily US based, but we will source parts from, I'll say, countries that don't have geopolitical tensions with the US. Samir, I hope that answers your question. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Elena?
Please explain a little bit better what are the costs to the companies and how do you guys make money, and do you guys take equity? How much does it cost, and how does it work? How do you get returns?
Marina, I'm sorry, can you say the first part of that question again?
Yes, what are the costs to the customers? How do you make money?
Exactly. Okay, so we sell, and I'll speak just for industrial automation, my business unit. We sell time and material. So it's engineering consulting services, and then the associated materials to build, integrate, and deliver their system. So that is the core of the industrial automation business unit.
Kind of like
innovation, sorry.
Kind of like KBR model, or
yeah, that's
okay.
That's a fair statement. Yeah.
Okay.
And then for components and advanced metallics, it's contract manufacturing. Straight up. Yep.
Got it. Thank you.
Perfect. Jan, last but not least.
Yeah, hi Evan. Yeah, I mean, obviously this is not like a typical venture fundable startup, right? Like I'm kind of assuming that you're looking for something a little bit different here. Because I see, you know, actually a lot of startups that are pitching today could be actually useful for you, right?
Absolutely.
In
Absolutely.
a lot of ways, right? Like, you know, I'm curious how you're approaching these like new emerging technologies for like Industry 4.0 as the like you know, as you're operating like, you know, your you know, operations, right? I wonder, like, because I guess I see more ways to collaborate that way, you know, as a corporate who are kind of looking for innovation, like maybe that there's like, you know, on the new technology front or the startup front, there could be more.
Absolutely.
There.
Yeah. So the way that I view it in particular is I'm looking for software companies that they've got a great technology, but they also need an associated hardware to go with that, and they have no idea what they're doing on that front. That's where we can add value for our customers, particularly our product innovation arm can help there. But just generally across the board, it's a brand new sandbox for us to play in. It's about gaining those core competencies, making ourselves experts with this technology, and how we can take it in and apply it to our customers or clients as we partner with them. In terms of, you know, the companies that we're pitching here today, I don't see a way that we couldn't work with any one of them should the need arise. And I will put my email in the chat for anyone that would like to discuss further. But through that lens, it's more about how we can support new companies' efforts as opposed to bringing new technology to the market.
Yeah, I would love to kind of, you know, continue the conversation because I think our teams have like overlap before, but like we'd love to kind of chat more after.
Absolutely, yeah.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Evan. Evan, it looks like it'd be good to leave your email in the chat and leave some contact information for those who'd be interested, as you already said. And thank you for presenting. Next up, we have Control Systems. And presenting will be Robert, I believe.
Yes, this is Bob Roche, and I'm the president and founder of CTRL Systems. And we are a manufacturer and distributor of ultrasound-based sensors and software from sensor to data capture to cloud and analytics. Our presentation today is to show you how we're taking our years of experience and soon to be a disruptor with our ultrasound into several key markets going forward starting this year. Okay, why does it not advance? You are seeing the screen, correct?
We're seeing the screen. It's also, yeah, it's not advancing on our end. Do we see the main
Yeah,
page?
no, I don't know why it's not advancing. All right, let me stop
Maybe
sharing.
we could get it. If needed, we could also get it up on our end, if you'd like.
All right, go ahead and do it on that side then. I'll hit stop sharing. There we go. Not sure why it won't advance. Are you calling it up, Asher?
Yeah, I'm pulling it up now. It's going to take me a minute. Yeah. There we go. I have it.
All right. All right, so next screen, please.
Yeah, just give me
All right.
1 second. I'm trying to get it to the screen before I
All right, we are as I say, we're a manufacturer of ultrasound sensors, software, and analytics. We, as an engineering group, we've been first in the market in many ways. We were the first to put this ultrasound technology on the International Space Station, and it was also operational on shuttles. The products are still being used today. We were the first to move from what was a listening device to data acquisition for analysis, and we were the first to move all that data into a cloud-based system as well. And we have now developed several patents associated to the next generation of the ultrasound sensor. And the benefit of ultrasound for the shareholders and or the investor side, ultrasound is the earliest detection of change of condition into many components as you see on the bottom of the screen. So gears, bearings, hydraulics, pumps, electrical, all of these are assets that can be monitored utilizing ultrasound and getting the earliest indication change of condition, which then would result in call to action. Next screen, please. The disruptor part comes into, we have recently, in the last 24 months or so, we are now developing, as you see at the bottom of the screen, a 24/7 wireless sensor. So taking it out of the handheld system and turning it into a mountable sensor that can either be done by route-based and or permanently mounted and left for 24/7 monitoring for the same benefit. The attribute of this will then allow for operational entities to control their assets and not put a demand on current manpower or increase manpower in order to get the meaningful information to keep the operational sustained and moving forward. Next slide. We started that about in 22, and we have moved from concept to demonstration of the first version of the sensor with the patent. You see a picture of it here, a prototype attached to a component on the aircraft. We are in the final stages of hardware and software modifications of that field test to be able to move into our first production run, which will be occurring later this year, and which will be producing the first 5,000 units. Beyond that, new software engineering and hardware and the AI aided capability will continue moving forward. It says disruptor, but quite honestly, the ultrasound will also be synergistic to other existing technologies that clients are using, whether it's vibration, infrared, oil analysis, and other capabilities. The attribute of the ultrasound will give them the earliest indication of change before the other technologies. This has been proven out with work we did with Penn State on behalf of the Navy and demonstrated the earliest indication of those changes prior to the other technologies. Next slide, please. We have been doing this with a lot of different clients, both commercial and military, over the current years, but we're now moving into a more focused approach. Next slide. We've been working with Boeing. We're helping the engineering teams within Boeing to address aircraft on ground problems. The Boeing engineer Charlie Works team has worked with us and has approved our handheld device and written it into the aviation maintenance manual for all 737 through 787 aircraft to about 30 different initial applications. We're now also working with them to the next level of our 24/7 sensor, which would be used when aircraft's on the tarmac, but we're also working with them to ultimately integrate that technology into the production facility and giving them heads up during the production cycle, and ultimately looking at that technology being embedded in the aircraft for, again, earlier indication. Next slide. What that means to us as far as a TAM or SAM, we've identified 5 clients out of the 320 Boeing clients. These are clients that we're already working with. The application need for the technology is not just per site. It is a combination of fleets, locations, hubs, airports they operate. And this chart shows a high-low projection of both the handheld system for the applications already approved, and then the future applications of the HHC, the mounted unit. So in the bottom, you see our projections from both the low scale to the high scale of revenue just within these first 5 of the 320 operators. Out of the top 50 operators in commercial aviation, we already have relationships with 15 of them that are looking forward to the rollout of this capability. The revenue will be both for the hardware or sort of a CapEx and a recurring revenue stream for new software features and functionalities as we continue working with Boeing and then the other OEMs that we're starting to talk with in the case of Airbus and Bombardier and others. And eventually, I believe that the model will switch from a CapEx OpEx to a complete OpEx model, very much like cell phones and services as well. Next screen. And then as the aviation market matures this year, as we roll out the new product, these are some of the markets that we're looking at next on our radar. Next screen. We have been talking to these various companies and their innovation departments, and they've identified the areas of application where ultrasound sensor technology would be applicable to their particular need. Next slide. And these are the additional enhancements of the technology that we would develop to their particular needs and solving their problems. So aviation is our first focus vertical, but we already are lining up with oil and gas, power generation, electrical panel monitoring, and several others, rail and a couple others. Next slide.
30-second warning.
Okay. So our game plan is to now move forward in the next 18 to 36 months to continue to grow organically, but also look at exit strategies. We've already are in early conversations with companies like the ones you see here, where our technology would be applicable and of interest for integration into their other holding companies and a faster way to market. Last slide is this is our team. We have over 100 years of experience in the ultrasound market. Next slide. And our ask today is either from the shareholders to see value of our technology and its applicability to those entities you represent, and or the investor side. We can show you how we've raised $1.5 million in the last 24 months to get from concept to this demo. We're getting ready to move to production now, and we're looking to raise $2 million to build the first 5,000 units, of which those clients I already talked about are indicating an initial need of 20% of that. The 5,000 units will generate $10 million in revenue with a projected net profit of 40%. So we can show how a $2 million investment would be paid back in 2 years or converted into stock at a 20% discount, but continue to earn interest up through 2030 based upon a percentage of the net revenue, which would represent that $10 million a year over the next 6 years would return $330,000 back to the investor, even if they were paid back or converted their note, which would then equate to almost a 100% return on the initial investment. So I hope that this brief information will cause you to want to have a follow-up and learn more as to how it may be applicable to your interest and need. And I thank you for your time.
Perfect. Awesome. All right. Opening up the floor to questions. All right, Lena.
Yeah, hey, quick question. I'm trying to understand what onboarding here looks like and sort of timeline between initial sort of purchase and actually sort of being able to finally use this. What does that on-ramp look like?
Customer acquires the product. They put it operational within 24 hours of receiving the product. It'll immediately go on board. It can be tied into the software collection and the analytics, giving them the classification and results immediately. We're also working with Boeing to take current readings of systems and compare it to a library reading to help aid their clients as to condition of that component to what is considered norm as well. And that information is going to be tied into an algorithm which will do even better projection of classification of the nature of the problem as well. We've already done some of that in electrical analysis.
Does that library currently exist?
The electrical library and all has begun, yes, based upon data that we've been collecting with our handheld system. We are moving to the mounted system so that a sensor can be placed in front of like an electrical panel and with no modification, sense that there's an anomaly inside the panel and classify the nature of the anomaly to avoid arc flash and other safety issues in that environment. In the case of the aircraft, our first application working with Boeing is that those sensors will be used for quick inspection, and it'll help avert what is currently costing an operator over $300,000 when this particular event occurs on the flaps. Utilizing this new technology, they will be able to mitigate that down to almost not happening at all. And one of the key clients that we're working with currently experiences upwards to 20 of those a year. And each one of those costs about $300 in repair and FAA fines. Yes, oh.
Perfect. So last question, Irina, go right ahead.
You mentioned that there's an application for oil industry. Could you kind of mention what does it look like?
Several. There's in the case of refineries, it is the overall structure of the refineries, pumps and valve, especially internal valve evaluation. Key evaluation there is not only is more like when the valve is supposed to be closed to know that it has got a bypass bleed. Also, we have done early work on quality of what's flowing through the pipe and pick up contamination, either hard or soft. So there are multiple applications of pumps, valves, and other aspects, along with some quality issues within the overall operation.
Thank you.
Real quick.
Perfect. Thank
'cause
you.
I was looking.
Oh,
I was looking for the actual hand up, so I just put my hand up. Robert, the list of where you had Air Canada and WestJet, are those current clients, or were you trying to scope out the size of the market?
No, several of those are current. I can give you a list, but FedEx and UPS and Delta and Southwest and so on are current clients. We have over 14 of the current clients utilizing the handheld device right now, and all of them are looking forward to the soon-to-be released Hitchhiker. We call it Hitchhiker.
Yeah, we're based in Canada, so WestJet and Air Canada caught my attention.
Well, Air Canada is a client for sure, yeah.
Air
And
Canada
we're working with Air Canada and Delta's tech groups as a conduit to do what for Airbus, hopefully what we've been doing with Boeing as well.
Awesome. Thank you.
I did put my email
Perfect.
and such. I did put my email and such into the notes. And I would welcome any follow-up activity.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much, Robert. I know we're running a little behind, but if everyone can stay for a few more minutes, we got one more presentation left. Presenting is Gunsons. Feel free to start sharing your screen and doing it. And looking forward to seeing it.
Does everybody see my screen?
I see it, but it's not in presentation mode yet.
Is that it?
Yep, we're good
Okay.
now.
Thank you so much. A pleasure to be here. Thank you to all the panelists for your attention and time and some great pitches today. So Michael Lyon, GunSense, COO and co-founder. We are a threat detection company based out of California and Florida. We are using AI to protect and save lives with our first flagship product, which is a gun threat detection platform. So we are a team of 7 serial entrepreneurs from Silicon Valley. We have a couple of different people on the team who are also first responders and have some very good connections into federal programs across the board. So unless everybody has been under a rock for the last 10 years, we have an unfortunate violence problem that has been already portrayed on several pitches, but it is a national and international pandemic. It is a $1 trillion problem today, and it is not getting better. Politics and government haven't solved it, seem to have the ability to solve it. So what does GunSense do? So we use a fully proactive AI vision-based, fully autonomous, edge-based device. It is very small. It mounts anywhere, indoors, outdoors, and it is monitoring visually for weapons before shots are fired. So as I said, it goes indoors and outdoors. We do not violate privacy. Yes, it is an image-based system, but we don't actually record video. We don't transmit video. It instantly alerts first responders and the police with the location of the threat, and I'll get into a little bit of that detail as we go through the pitch. But it does alert first responders over FirstNet, or that's in case of AT&T. Verizon has their own government response network, and T-Mobile as well. So as I said, it's fully autonomous, requires no human intervention. It is extremely accurate. At today's rate, we are about 99.2% accurate, and infinitely scales, doesn't require any back end or human intervention. So how does it work? So currently the system, as you see in the top of the screen there, that's our first sensor of many. The AI scans its surroundings 24/7, 365, 60 frames a second, today at about 100 feet at 180 to 190 degrees. And it's looking for the presence of a weapon where a weapon doesn't belong. You can see here, this is one of the alerts. This alert comes back down from our cloud after we alert first responders within a couple of 100 milliseconds. And you can see this is a school shooting in progress. No shots have been fired. But in the middle of the screen, you see that there is a dulled red coin key. That shows us where the perpetrator staged. We can go into bathrooms because we're not violating privacy. We don't look at bodies. We don't care. You can see the live application where the perpetrator now has moved to classroom 420. This will show up on police cruisers, police laptops, cell phones, and the general public. They obviously get a different map and floor plan than the general public get. But now SWAT teams show up minutes and minutes earlier, and they can neutralize the threat. They know exactly where to go. So intellectual property-wise, there's a massive filings that have been filed by our CEO or previous CEO, now chairman of the board, Peter Redford. Peter has about almost 60 different patents, some of them used by billions of people. Move on. So market status. So we are in pilot production right now. We're starting to deliver. We have orders from schools at about 100, 125,000. We have follow-up conversations with many different schools. We just got back from ISC West in Las Vegas, security show. We met with a global Fortune 10 customer who wants to deploy GunSense. They've already ordered pilots for us. They spent 2 days at our booth with about a dozen different executives from their team. So that's a very interesting and forward-looking statement there. We've got several orders in the works already with several airports and new expansions. Police and SWAT teams have already ordered pilots, churches, 7-Elevens, Quickie Marts, and the like. We are ready for volume production in Q2, Q3 timeframe. That is already set. We have marketing and distribution agreements. We are a hardware and software SaaS company. We already have a distribution contract with T-Mobile. We have a distribution contract with TD SYNNEX, the world's largest global distributor of IT infrastructure. They're taking us B2B to C, B2B, B2M, and B2G. They have boots on the ground. We are very close to a contract with Verizon, AT&T, Motorola, ADT, and many other Fortune 100, 500 companies. We do have a military government mobile wearable application that is in the works. We're talking to several federal agencies in regard to that for wearables and mobile technology. So the go-to-market strategy right now is through TD SYNNEX and T-Mobile. Others will join that one. We're an $800 out the door cost with a $20 SaaS monthly subscription. We are in negotiations with many Fortune 100, 500 companies for OEM and license agreements. So the market is huge, $98 billion in the US alone. We're already in conversations with several foreign governments and foreign entities, but this is only for the US. Giving you a quick projected growth for GunSense, we're looking at about 10 million in the first year. That's a very small number, growing to between 200 and 500 million by the third year. Any couple of these Fortune 100, Fortune 500 companies could take us to that level very quickly. So
30-second warning.
Yep, thank you. Got an A round currently open for 10 million. Use of funds 45% into manufacturing. That generates enough cash flow for us to be profitable by month 16, month 18. And acquisition, obviously telcos, a big opportunity, equipment manufacturers, at least a 10x or a 10x year 3 revenue. We would be a $2 billion acquisition, and there are many pieces in that space. And that's it. I appreciate everybody's attention.
Perfect. Questions? Don't be shy. Otherwise, I have a few. Ariana, go ahead.
Okay, so it's an AI analytics to capture, the way I understand it, obviously hardware with the scanners, but it's the analytics to capture preemptive, right? So identify the gun. How do you guys deal with hallucinations? Because hallucinations build on hallucinations. And to me, that's kind of it sounds amazing that it's preventative, but what happens if it's, you know, it hallucinates and a person that doesn't have a gun or that has something that looks like a gun goes through, you know, whatever people go through?
Right. It's a very good question. I appreciate that. So we have an analytical AI that's very unique in the industry. It basically will not take one image and say, okay, we found a weapon and we're pretty confident it's a weapon. So the first image that comes through, it's analyzed. We see a potential for a weapon. The second frame comes in, we delete the first frame, so there's never anything in the unit to begin with. Then we take subsequent frames after that, and we have a mesh network that will alert other sensors within the region to start to detect as well. We add all of those together to come up with a ranking. Then we take situational awareness of how that weapon is being handled, and there are very key trigger points that we are looking for, hand to gun, hand to weapon detection. Along with that, we know in geospace where every single sensor is located. So we know the difference between a school and a military base or a police force or any number of different locations. So we then marry that up with the situational awareness. And if you see a gun at a school, it's a threat. If you see a gun over a shoulder at a military base, it's obviously not a threat. So we come up with a ranking that is about 99.2% accurate on every single detection. So it is highly accurate, and we're going to improve that as we scale.
Thank you.
Perfect. Perfect. We have time for one more. Well, we're over time, but one more question, I guess. Otherwise, I have a few on my end. Just could you talk a little bit more about the military application? Because I know you briefly touched on it, but what would that look like? Would it be a useful solution for like the battlefield?
It would be a very useful. Appreciate that. So the military conversations that we're having, and with all three-letter agencies from FBI and CIA all the way to DOD, DOJ, etc. So we will take our existing commercial technology, shrink it down to what is probably the size of a thick credit card, battery powered. And we have an automotive play, both military and commercial, where we're detecting weapons around a vehicle. But the mobile and wearable applications really speak to the threat of military personnel in the field. So we've got thousands and thousands of military personnel in sandboxes and around the world. We want to protect them. So we give them a 360-degree view of their surroundings, looking for the potential for a sniper, looking for the potential for a shooting threat coming at them before they ever see it with their eyes. Added to that, we've got a drone payload that would go in and look at crowds for weapons or look at troop movements. All AI, all autonomous, all in real time.
Sure. Yeah, that can be really useful, it sounds like. All right. Marina, do you have another question, or is your hand still up from the last one?
No, I do. I apologize, guys. I keep asking. How does that apply for space? Can your hardware and software work for the situational awareness, specifically for figuring out the debris and abnormalities in space? Maybe low Earth orbit first.
Yeah, so it's a good question. I'll preface it with that we are not a gun threat detection platform. We are a threat detection platform. Any number of different threats can be added to this. Internally, we have talked about the space and detection. I think it's pretty far down our roadmap. I'd like to talk to you about it further, but we're more interested in threats, physical threats. I was just at the British consulate a couple of weeks ago in San Francisco, and they were a little flummoxed about why we were there talking about guns. And I said, well, our next AI library that's coming down will be for knives, sharps, and shanks. Prisons have asked us for that. European countries have a much bigger problem with knives and weapons like knives than we have in the US with gun violence. I mean, it's every second of every day there is a knife stabbing or a knife violence. We can look at situational awarenesses, mannerisms, gait of people in stressful situations, people in violent modes. Any number of different things can be added to this, and that's on our roadmap, which stretches out about 5 years at this point.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Perfect. That's all the time. Thank you for everyone who bared down and stuck with us, even though we went a little bit over. And thank you so much to all the companies and all the panelists for joining us. We really couldn't have done it without you guys, obviously. And so we appreciate everyone for staying on. Feel free to join us next month, and we'll be in touch. Have a good rest of your day. Bye-bye.